The following episode of Rate the Record involves mature themes of depression, self-harm, sexual abuse, and suicide. If you have been affected by these themes, please reach out to your local resource and prevention center or visit the many online resources available. You are not alone. The following thoughts and opinions we're going to discuss regarding this album are strictly of our own personal interests. We are not professional music reviewers. We encourage respectful discussion and friendly banter in each episode, but we do not condone and will not tolerate bullying or belligerence. You are welcome to take what we say regarding the albums we rate with a grain of salt. Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 72.
Yay! 72. Buckle my shoe.
We're getting into the number now where if you look at it in like the stylized version of years, like 1972, the 70s was a great era of music. And so we're like in the early 70s where things were really starting to pick up and find their own like rock tune. So good times, good times.
Yeah, so we picked an album from the 2000s.
Exactly from 2000. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but first I just want to officially welcome you to the podcast. Thank you for joining us today, hanging out and checking out this album if you are indeed doing that, or maybe you're just listening to us talk. Either way, welcome. Glad to have you here. If you do like what you see and or hear today, make sure you let us know how much you like it by showing us some support. You can like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, follow, all of those things. Of course, help build this musical community that we're trying to build brick by brick by acoustic guitar by acoustic guitar. We're doing it all, and we need your help to do it. It's free to do. It takes only a minute of your time, so by all means go ahead and do that. It really does help.
Or just send us money.
Well, I mean, there is that option too, the optional donation thing that you can do with Ko-fi.com/rate the record. Of course, over there, I like how this was brought up, and we didn't even plan this entire thing at all. It's just working this way. But yes, Ko-fi.com/rate the record is optional. You can make a donation, join the RTR Club, $5 a month, or a one-time whatever donation you want to do. That's fine too. But if you join the RTR Club, you get bonus stuff. You get a shout out. You get a thank you card type thing, like in the episode, not like one sent in the mail. That'd be interesting. If you have music, we'll go ahead and rate your song too on like Ko-fi exclusive stuff, and also other just bonus content too. Regardless, Ko-fi.com/rate the record. That's where you can financially support the show if you so do please to do.
Yes, which you definitely do.
You're just kind of like putting it in their head now, like this has to be done.
I'm trying to put like whatever a reverse curse is, like something positive, some implant that thought in the listener's brains. Just
say curse backwards, I guess.
S rock.
It's like
S-rock.
Cirque. That's it backwards. So that's exactly what we're putting on you, dude.
Yeah, we're off. All right, we're off the rails already.
Yeah, unfortunately, you kind of know that, like, if you've been here before, you already know that we do that way too much. So, hey, welcome back. Thank you for joining us in this wild, chaotic ride, because we always know what we're doing, right? Absolutely. If you've never been here before, then you're being exposed to it for the first time. So, hey, welcome to the show. We hope you enjoy your stay. Have a good time. We do eventually talk about music, I promise. And, that's the vast majority of the show. I also promise that, too. But regardless, that means you don't know what we do here on the show. So each week, Savannah and I will choose an album beat completely at random, just whatever we want to listen to for whatever reason. Maybe an album celebrating an anniversary, 20, 25, 30 plus years, whatever. Or we also get requests, too. We've done plenty of requests. We have more coming up. Regardless, we will take an album. We'll discuss it at length, front to back. We'll rank the songs, and then we rate the record. Hey, you didn't smart-ass me that time.
No, I was just I'm trying to get it as on time as possible while still being a shithead. So,
considering that we're over Zoom right now, the fact that it is practically on time when we say that, at least the latency's good. Not bad at all.
In person, it's going to be me screaming it, and you're just like, we are never recording in person again.
I'll match you and scream it as well, and then we'll get kicked out of whatever space we rent.
Fantastic. My mother's basement.
Oh, are we gonna have to travel over a really long way?
Yes.
Oh, you lost me. But yes, all those things that I mentioned that you could do earlier, probably should have brought this up when it was still relevant. The financial support, all the free support, whatever, all the streaming links, all the social medias, everything you need to find is over at ratetherecord.ch. So make sure you're going over there, including finding all the streaming links that's just mentioned for YouTube and for the audio world, everything like that. But for YouTube specifically, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we do our monthly. I said do. Of course I did. We do our monthly giveaways. Yeah, we just gave away Bush's 16 Stone, so congratulations to the winner of that. But now, and I'm saying that because we haven't given away the album just yet by the time we're recording, so I can't even say who the name is yet.
But there's a winner.
But we've given it away by the time this episode airs. But it's April now when this episode airs, which means it's time for a brand new album. I don't even remember which one it was. Oh, you know what it was? It was California by Mr. Bungle, one of the most popular episodes and one of the highest rated albums we've done on the show. We're doing California by Mr. Bungle for April 2024. And as if that wasn't cool enough, UK listeners, I know we've excluded for the last 3 because we're like, oh, shipping, blah, blah, blah. No, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and do it anyways. You are included in this giveaway. If you live in the UK, Canada, or the United States, you are free to enter this contest, so make sure you check that in the description below, ratetherecord.ca, regardless, links everywhere. Check it, enter, good luck.
Just like Maybelline, you are all worth it.
Oh, we're not sponsored. We're not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored.
What? Well, no, but there's nothing else I could think of that would make sense. So sorry. Just like you're worth it.
I was going to say, Maybelline is pure trash and bullshit. If you want to say good things, please sponsor us. There you go. How about that? I'll turn it all around real quick. Give me free products. Yes. I'll use them and praise the hell out of you.
Yes.
But until we get sponsored by Maybelline, we have another album that we have to do today. And of course, we're doing Elliott Smith and his 2000 album Figure 8. Now, if you've been listening to the show in the past, I've brought up Elliott Smith numerous times. I don't even know how many, but numerous. But funny enough, I usually mention the song Memory Lane, which is on his 2003 posthumous album From a Basement on the Hill. But regardless, I usually do bring up Elliott Smith. And not only that, but I've actually made Savannah listen to the song LA back when we did our mixtape episode.
Yes.
And she liked it then, so I'm assuming she's going to like it now. But regardless, we're going to find out that and more as we move forward. But before we start discussing the album, I'll tell you a little bit about Elliott and this album. So, Elliott Smith was born Stephen Paul Smith on August 6, 1969 in Omaha, Nebraska. He was raised in Texas and spent most of his life in Portland, Oregon. So Smith went through a difficult and traumatic childhood. I should mention a lot of this description is probably going to be kind of sad.
Skip ahead if you don't want to get bummed out.
I was going to say, anyone who knows then skip this episode. I mean... His music's sad. So just, heads up. So Smith went through a difficult and traumatic childhood living with his mother and stepfather in Texas. His stepfather was abusive towards him, and Elliott has even suggested in the past that he may have even been sexually abused by him. So this would go on to influence later songs in his life and just like attitude and self-destructive behavior, etc., etc. So events such as that, would lead to heavy drug use, alcohol abuse later on in his life. He left his Texas home at the age of 14 to go live with his biological father in Portland. While in high school, Smith experimented recording with a 4-track recorder that he had borrowed. He had started playing piano at the age of 9 and guitar at the age of 10, so those were his 2 main go-tos for his recordings. He would join 2 bands in high school, Stranger Than Fiction and A Murder of Crows. After graduating high school, he went by the name Elliott Smith rather than Steve Smith, as he thought it sounded too much like a jock name, and the name either came from a street that he lived on in Portland or a nickname that his then-girlfriend had suggested. He would attend Hampshire College in Amherst, Massachusetts, and this is where he would join the band Heat Miser, the first of his bands that would get signed by a major label. Elliott would start his solo career while in Heat Miser, and due to his success, it eventually led Elliott to pursue that after tensions arose within Heat Miser. Elliott found a lot of success in his solo career, including an Academy Award nomination for his song Miss Misery, which was actually released on the Good Will Hunting soundtrack in 1997. Smith would go through serious battles with alcohol, drug abuse, depression, and suicidal thoughts throughout his entire career. And despite showing signs of improvement by 2003, he would die in October 2003 at the age of 34 as a result of 2 stab wounds to the chest. Though initially ruled a suicide, the question remains open as to whether or not it was a homicide, and that being, it's like a very Kurt and Courtney situation. His girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Chiva, locked herself in the bathroom after they had an argument. She had a shower, heard him scream, came out, knife was sticking out of his chest. She grabbed it to pull it out, and he collapsed and died. And so it's I don't want to say who did it, what did, or whatever. It's just I don't want to get in the middle of that discussion, but that is how it happened. So that's why there's a discussion of whether or not suicide or homicide.
Oh, and he was our age. I could not imagine. Just like, that's it. My life is over at 34. It
feels like he experienced a whole lifetime before he even got to 34 years old.
Wow, that's wild.
So between 1994 and 2003, Elliott Smith released 5 albums, and his sixth and final studio album, From a Basement on the Hill, was a posthumous release in 2004. His prior release is today's album. Figure 8 is his 5th studio album, which was released April 8th, 2000. It was written and recorded over a course of 2 years and was recorded at a number of studios around Los Angeles, as well as a small stint at Abbey Road Studios in London, England. It was released through DreamWorks Records and produced by Smith, Tom Rothrock, and Rob Schnapf. What a last name.
Nice.
The album was generally well received, with NME claiming it was Elliott's best work to date. All Music only gave it a 3.5 out of 5, so I mean, I guess they more or less liked it.
Rude.
Metacritic has the album at number 8, not number 81, but it's at 81 out of 100. And outlets such as Q, Melody Maker, and The Guardian gave it 4 out of 5. Rolling Stone placed the album at number 42 on their 100 best albums of the decade list. And the album appeared on 7 different charts worldwide, the highest peaking at number 29 in Norway, and the lowest being number 99 in his home country, the United States.
Dang.
The album was designated silver in the UK upon selling 60,000 copies there, and the album only has 2 singles that I'm aware of, although I could have sworn it was 3: Happiness and Son of Sam.
Oh, really?
I thought LA was a single. Maybe it is, and just I didn't see it. I don't know.
Wow, there's a couple other ones that I would have assumed could have made it as singles, just because they do kind of have that Son of Sam sort of upbeat feel to it. But I don't know. That's pretty surprising. Kind of as surprising as Steely Dan not having Bodhisattva as a single, because I thought they did.
Probably because he realized people wouldn't be able to pronounce it, and also just again my note from last week, that's not a very singable lyric, and so it doesn't work as like a hook or a refrain.
That's true. You end up singing Bodhisattva afterwards. So.
Or my joke from last week, what is up? Because he was like just doing the Italian accent.
That was funny.
It was. But now we are going to move on to Elliott Smith and discussing the actual album itself. So let's do this. Song number 1, Son of Sam.
Okay, so this is an overarching comment on the entire album. A lot of it sounds delicate. It's not. He
was a very delicate man.
Yeah, and it's not abrasive. A lot of them are primarily acoustic, even if they're upbeat sounding, like if you've been here before, we don't do the lyrical breakdown. So there are going to be songs I'm like, oh, this sounds pretty upbeat, reminds me of a sunny day. And you're like, yeah, it's not even close. But you know what? We all like Semi-Charmed Life. So we all know what that's like.
And nobody knows what that song is about because no one even paid attention.
Right? It's just about drugs. But I like the way that this album starts already just from this song. Like I said, it is delicate. I like how the music matches the vocals and it's nothing too obnoxious, and the drums are soft. And I like when the drums are soft, whether it sounds like they're just playing lighter or maybe they're playing with brushes, so it's not as much of a literal hit. I really like that. It filled me with optimism for what's coming up next for the 16 songs on this album.
At the very least, a lot of the songs aren't that long. So, I mean, like, it's actually pretty easy to fly through this album. Like, you don't even think about it. 16 songs, but only 52 minutes. Considering we did Year Zero, which was 16 songs, that was over an hour. And we did Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which was 17 songs. So
that one literally felt like it was 27. It felt so long.
I mean, Sir Psycho Sexy was like, what, 8 minutes long or something like that?
Jeez, I don't know.
Long ass
there were like 3 songs on that album I liked. But this one, I like this. This is good. It's better than the Chili Peppers.
Yeah, circling back to what you said about the lyrics too. So yeah, we don't do lyrical analysis to those who might be new here, and especially knowing Elliott Smith, he was a very prolific songwriter and very personal, passionate lyrics, and very sad lyrics more often than not. Mm-hmm. I do point out certain things every once in a while, but I don't talk about every single song. just because it's one of those things I'm so intimately familiar with. I've known of Elliott Smith for a really long time now. I've been listening to him a long time. As a matter of fact, I forgot to point out for our video viewers, I do have the record. Also,
Nice.
by the way, I ranked Elliott Smith albums on Ko-fi. I did that as a Ko-fi exclusive, and if you want to know where that one came, go ahead and watch that video. And I also showed it off in that video too.
Yeah, don't say it now or else it'll give me a hint on where it lies today.
Well, no, and I wouldn't do that. Although today, where it lands today, maybe could be an indicator. I don't know. I don't even remember how I ranked the albums. But anyways, I started talking about this album, like getting it off the ground. But yeah, we don't discuss the lyrical things, but I do every once in a while. Just wanted to say that real quick. But yes, this is a great start to the album. I do like this song. Always have. Very interesting. Good energy to kind of get things moving. And like the guitar and piano pair so well with each other the entire song. And I love that they're split between speakers too. So like you have your guitar on the left and the piano on the right. So it kind of gives them both like a time to shine without like overlapping each other or like outdoing each other. Just they pair very well. I really, really like that.
I definitely agree. I did notice that the piano like adds a brightness, like an audible brightness to it. And I really enjoy that. Some of these notes that I write, I swear to God, adding commas still does not help my comprehension. The ending seemed added on at the end, whatever that meant. No pun intended. But I think it could have ended at 2 minutes 30 before the last few lines. I feel like it went
arms now to make sure it don't get too far.
Yeah, I feel like the song ended, I guess sort of ended, and then there was music, and then the lyrics came back in, then the song ended. It kind of felt like you thought you were on like a flat road. You're like, oh, we finally got out of that, and then you hit a speed bump, and then you're fine. It just kind of felt like it pulled me out of the natural ending by giving me something more, and then it ended, but it wasn't enough for it to knock the score at all.
I disagree because I feel like I like the way it ended, and like it felt like a proper conclusion, where if it just kind of went out on like the quieter part before the final, I don't even know if it's like a chorus or a verse, it's just the outro, I guess.
Yeah.
But like it was like that quiet little piano and guitar melody. If it was just going out on that, it would feel incomplete, and I might have more of a problem with it. I don't know. But fair. I don't know. I like the way it ended. I've never really thought about it one way or the other. But yeah, I guess a blanket statement for myself too is like production's fantastic all over this album. Even from songs that have like full band, some of them are just kind of like broken down to like piano and guitar, maybe a couple of other things. But this song's a great display of how it sounds with everything involved, so you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. And I did write a note about the lyrics too, because like a lot of people think this has to do with the Son of Sam killer, like David Berkowitz. Yeah. It doesn't though. Elliott actually claimed he doesn't even really know what the song's about, but if he had to break it down to anything, it's about destruction and creativity.
Interesting. Because
also some of the lyrics about Son of Sam apparently don't make too much sense to what that man did. So I don't know. I don't study serial killers too much, but like I know who Son of Sam is. He's the guy who like heard a dog tell him to kill people because God told him to, or something like that. I don't know.
I know what most of these guys look like, but their crimes, I have no idea, because I'm like, oh, interesting. At least I was like that when I was a teenager. It's just like that morbid curiosity. But now as a full-grown adult, I read that and I go, no, I'm good. Thank you. I don't need any more reasons to never leave my house. We're fine. Not reading that.
We just had that Bundy biopic a little while ago or something like that.
I never watched that. Hell no.
And then like everyone knows about Charles Manson. Dahmer's another one too.
Never watched it. Yeah, I know enough, but I refuse to watch it.
Charles Manson was in that well, not him, but like someone portraying him was in that Tarantino movie that came out not too long ago, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I've not seen that, but I think I was told that I should. Yeah, maybe it was you. I don't know.
No, not me.
I only have one more note for this song. It's only track 1, and the piano and guitar sound so easy and carefree that I'm convinced I could play this myself. I can't. And
his songs are weird to learn on
and
guitar.
Like me picking up guitar again is definitely referenced a couple of times going forward in this review, because there are a lot of songs that it's just strumming chords. But you're like, oh, I could play that. Like, it would be so much fun to play. And as I'm miming it on my leg, as I'm listening to it, I'm like, I could do this. But I know as soon as I pick up that guitar, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm highly discouraged. I'm not doing this. No, thank you.
If you learn how to play his song Independence Day from the XO album, then I'll be super impressed, because that one's always baffled me on how it's played properly. I'm terrible at it.
Excellent.
It's a great song, though, one of my favorites.
First. Excellent.
Yes, that. All right, moving on now to song number 2, Somebody That I Used to Know.
I could make a joke about this song being Gautier's song of the same name, but that guy is just somebody that I used to know.
I used to joke around with people and tell them, like, oh, I like Elliott Smith's version better. He's like, he doesn't have a version of the Gautier song. I'm just like, I know it's a joke. Like, the people thought I was being serious. That, like, it's kind of like the people who thought, like, Johnny Cash wrote Hurt type thing. It's just like, no, trust me, I'm aware of the original, and I'm aware these are 2 different songs. I'm just joking because it's the same song title. Haha, funny. Anyway.
Maybe the joke is them thinking you're stupid, and you just walk away going, I know I'm not stupid.
You can't think I'm stupid if I'm actually stupid. There
you go. Is that what I've been doing this whole time?
Exactly. So I've fooled you. Now look who looks stupid.
Oh.
Fantastic. But yeah, this is the first, like, real folky number of the album at the very least. Yeah, this one's a very broken down kind of song, just mainly a lot of guitar and vocals. Great guitar work, fantastic acoustic tone, which the acoustics all over this album are fantastic. So, I mean, like, this is another one of those things where Son of Sam kind of give you the idea of what everything sounds like together. This song is a great display of, like, what, like, more broken down songs sound like, and yet how it still feels full and, like, headphones and everything like that. So it's really good all around.
The guitar, again, it just sounds so easy, and it feels like I'm listening to him practice in his room, and I'm just standing on the other side of the door just listening to him write this song. It just it has like an intimate, unpolished sound. Like, sure, the production might be polished because it's on a record, but just the way the song is just built, it doesn't seem too overthought. It was just written, and it's like, okay, that's what's going on the record, and that's it. And I like that.
It's so curious to me too, because at this phase in Elliott's life was notably one of his personally worst, not musically, but just like personality wise. Like, again, self-destruction was like an all-time high. He was doing concerts at this point where he would forget chord progressions and lyrics, and people would have to, like, yell the lyrics out to him, or even chords to play. Yeah. Like, he would just not, he'd be a fucking mess. It was like, it was really hard to watch. So knowing that this album took 2 years to write, and then, like, hearing you say something like that, like, obviously you can hear this album's well done, because I guess that's why it took 2 years to do. I can imagine there's so many sessions where he probably just passed out, didn't show up, probably got into an argument with people. Not a good time, but yeah, like, it's nice to know that songs like this can still come out despite all that happening too.
Yeah.
Elliott's usually got like a tendency to, like, match his solos after vocal passages. He does this, like, kind of in a few different albums as well. I don't usually mind it. Sometimes it's pretty good, and even later on in this album it works really well, but, like, he does this, like, little solo in this song that mimics the like the vocal melody in the verse, and just, I don't know, to me it felt a little flat, didn't feel very inspired, so it kind of, like, took me out of the moment a little bit. I don't hate it or anything, but just, like, I don't know, it was one of the weaker points, I would say.
Maybe that's kind of the folky feel, where it's just like you kind of have a call and answer, you and your guitar.
Oh, there's one song, I think I know which one it is, but I'll talk about it later, but it has a great call and answer with the guitar and vocals. I really love it. I even made a note about it. I know that much. Nice. But yeah, there's not too much going on in the song. I mean, it's only 2 minutes and 9 seconds. So you don't have a whole lot to go with, but it's so short that that's hardly an issue. Like, if this song was like 4 minutes, probably drags a lot. Just like, oh my God, like, dude, just get to a point. But 2 minutes and 9 seconds, I can't complain. Like, he gets his point out. It sounds nice. It doesn't go way too long or overboard. So yeah, not bad.
I definitely agree. There are a couple songs coming up that are similar to this, at least to me, where it was just him, a guitar, maybe a bass player, who knows. Sometimes you can just sort of get by where it's just you, the guitar, you still have enough bass. But yeah, it's hard to kind of talk too much about it unless really you're talking about the chords and the shapes he's making and stuff. But since we don't know, it's a good country folk feel, and it kind of gives me a glimpse into what I'm to expect for the rest of the record, because like you said, we did get that sort of, I don't want to say heavy, and anytime I kind of talk about that, it's just more was there heavy drums? Was there not heavy drums? Because that kind of specifies whether it's heavy or a lighter song. But you get the heavy song, you get the lighter song, all in the first 2 tracks. And it kind of lays out the map for the rest of the album, which I actually really appreciate. He doesn't throw you any curveballs. It's just, this is what it is right from the beginning, and it stays that for the entire time, which is nice.
Yeah, he's just a very folky singer-songwriter, extremely influenced by things like the Beatles and stuff like that. John Lennon was one of his favorites of all time.
Yeah.
Ignoring what a shitty person John Lennon was, his writing was obviously fantastic too. So I mean, I can see why people be inspired by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I really got for this one.
Likewise.
All right, cool. We'll move on to song number 3, probably the more country twang of the entire album, Junk Bond Trader.
I did not get that vibe from this song whatsoever.
That guitar right in the beginning didn't give you country vibes?
If it did, then it was something I enjoyed. Because my first line is, there is something about this song that lights up that part of my brain that 90s alt rock does. And then I had to Google when this album came out because I didn't know. Obviously, I hear about it while we're recording, right? And then the rest of my line is, and I guess this album being released in 2000 explains a lot. So that's probably why I like it.
And considering that the song was written somewhere between 97 and 99. So it was right in that prime right for you.
Oh my God. It took quite a few plays to actually write something down because I couldn't stop listening to it.
And I'll kind of go back into that country twang I'm talking about because I've been pretty vocal in the past about that kind of country twang in songs, and we've even done a country album. Yeah. Obviously not so hot on it, but I mean, this one has always done right by me though. I actually I won't say where it is in the list, but I do really enjoy this song, and I always have. I thought it was really well written. This song to me is an example of some of my favorite vocal compositions by Elliott because it's a pretty wordy song. There's a lot of lyrics in here.
Yeah.
But everything just flows so well on the melody, so everything feels very comfortable, even though there is a lot of words. If you're going to have a very wordy track, you got to present it in such a way where it doesn't sound like you're just rambling on forever and ever, and I think the song does a great job of that.
I agree. I didn't really mention much about the song. I really feel like I was just so entranced by it that I just didn't write anything. What I did write was that it took quite a few plays to actually write anything down because I was just enjoying it as I let it play on repeat. I did like the slowed tempo because that contrast of sort of the slow tempo and the faster lyrics, I really enjoyed that. That was cool. I like the constant eighth notes that make up the chorus. I found those pleasing. I don't know, couldn't explain to you why I like these things. It's just if you hooked an EEG to my brain, it would be off the charts. And so far, I like this. So this song was definitely a winner in the top 3. I didn't have to wait halfway through the album to get to something I liked. So nice.
When I rated the song too, I thought to myself, this has to be in the top 3 of Savannah's favorites. I don't know where, but I something about the song was just this sounds like something she would absolutely enjoy.
Whoa, we have 13 more songs to figure that out?
Yeah, but I still have a pretty good feeling about that.
Write it down.
I'll remember that because I've been thinking about it since 2 days ago. I was gonna say, you said the chorus has the eighth notes. I think you might be thinking of the bridge because there's the chorus is lyricless. It's just it's the main hook of the song.
Maybe it is the bridge then. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because it's kind of these staccato eighth notes and everything like that with the soft drum rolls. And Elliott's got a very airy and flowy vocal presentation over it. And it pairs really well. Really enjoy that. A lot of fun.
Yes, as soon as you said staccato, I was like, that's exactly what it is, because I was going to say the same thing. I like that. Yeah. It's just there's something about it that I don't know. Maybe it's the juxtaposition between that and the rest of the song, or just there's just something about it that just lights up my brain. I like it.
The only other note I
hurts.
have too is just to say that I mean this could be said for a lot of songs on the album, but there's great harmonies in this one, like vocal harmonies. Really enriches the track overall. Really enjoy that. But he's really smart. Him, maybe in his production team too, just really good with those vocal overdubs. Everything sounds fantastic. There's one song that does it the best, and I mentioned that when it comes up, but just this song was really good for it, and I really liked it.
Nice.
Cool. We will now move on to song number 4. Everything reminds me of her.
So the song reminds me of Wilco, or at least what Wilco would end up becoming.
Oh, okay.
And I like Wilco, so this is a positive.
I can tell you chose them previously in this season.
I did, and I like them more than you.
Another card to throw up in the screen here.
Their later albums are still kind of country folky, but not as much as the one we reviewed, AM. So, but first thing I thought was Wilco when I heard this song. I really liked how the electric guitar was used to like add punctuation.
Yeah.
It's like adds sort of that emphasis, and I like that a lot. Also, I do just want to point out something because I don't know if you've noticed, but if you do, please let me know. I can hear his voice mixed separately on both sides, but it sounds like either they layered 2 takes or they just like split his voice, and then one of them is on the minuscule delay. So it sounds like a duet. It sounds like there's 2 people singing. I thought that was a nice touch. It added dimension and depth to it. That was cool.
You'll find that in a lot of Elliott Smith songs.
I noticed it in this one.
They have multiple takes, and they just kind of overlap them and everything like that. Actually, that happens multiple times on this album too. So, but yeah, like it just always does that, and that is like a very common vocal trick, anyways. It's just to kind of like instead of just layering the same take and just like making one off by half second or whatever, you just sing another take. It makes it sound a lot more interesting. Like I've done that in my own music too, and realized like, wow, that really enriches the vocals there. I like that.
Yeah, and you don't notice until you hear it and you're like, this is what I've been missing this whole time. Like, I don't know if I really notice it in the rest of the album, but I definitely noticed it here, and I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a really good choice.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And I mean, this song obviously sounds very sad. I mean, surprised it's Elliott Smith. The instrumentation's like really playfully written though, so I really like that. Just the piano sounds really nice, obviously. The song is mainly just like guitar, piano, and vocals. The way everything flows and having certain layers kind of come in and out is just like, it's a good use of the sonic space. Like the song doesn't feel flat despite the fact of how minimal it is. I'll say that much. And it's just another short and sweet track, sad but well written. And I mean, it got to the point. It got his point out in an interesting way. So yeah, 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Good track.
I really appreciate how heartfelt this song sounds. There are parts of the vocal melody that I'm not 100% fond of, but I really like the music, and I feel like that really keeps it all together. If there's a larger part of a song that I like, it's far easier for that to overshadow the parts that I don't like. And then eventually, the more I listen to it for the parts that I do like, I end up liking the song anyway. So it's always just a short-lived thing. I do want to just mention this song title and the next song title. I feel like they should have been a part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, something like that. Although they're obviously 2 very different songs in their own right, and everything like that. And actually, I mean, we can just transition to the next song right now. Song number 5, Everything Means Nothing to Me. So this song I had to read up on because there's a couple of different stories of like how the song was written and what the lyrical content could be going on about. Just the story of how the song came to be was pretty sad though. So I mean, Elliott's got into a verbal argument with his girlfriend, stormed out and went to go do what he was going to do, which was like heavy drinking and drugs. He just destroyed himself. Well, heroin's one of the things. There's other things that he could have been doing too. Like, I mean, he was kind of all over the place. But regardless, so he stumbles back into the studio after wandering around like his town for a little while, gets back to the studio, just plops himself in front of the piano. And apparently while he was out and stumbling around, he kept thinking about how people always used like phrases like, oh, I should get around to doing that, or I should do that at some point in the future, blah, blah, blah. Like always referencing of like, I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to do it later.
Yeah.
And apparently in his inebriated state, this kind of made him angry. So this part gets a little graphic. He decided to carve the word now into his arm, with blood flowing down his arm. And then he just started playing this song out of nowhere on the piano. Just started fucking playing it in a rough tape recording. Mm-hmm. And then they would eventually like remake it to make it the version we hear now. But god damn it, that isn't a dark, sad story.
Was there nobody around him at all at this point?
There were, but I mean, like, this was also probably the middle of the night, and the only person that he would have been close enough to, just they got into an argument, he stormed out. So I mean,
but I mean, just like in general, like they always say, like, get a group of friends or find, you know, people to support and help you and stuff, but you never really think of those people who are in a bad way that don't have support or don't have those people, and they're just the ones who it gets even worse for, because they're like, oh, I have nobody to help me, and they're carving shit in their arms, slapping a piano at 3 a.m.
Well, to be fair, he did have a support system, but he was also like in a bad state at this point, so like he wasn't exactly seeking them out. And I do know that I can't remember what one point in his career, but he was on the phone with like an engineer or producer or something like that until like 4 or 5 in the morning, so he wouldn't kill himself. This producer was just talking to him to keep him alive and just kind of like trying to comfort him. So like he did have a system, but like, again, I guess just in points like this, he wasn't trying to utilize it, and he's just like, I'll deal with it myself, which obviously wasn't the best idea.
Dang.
That brought it down a little bit, but I mean, this song is also pretty sad, especially with a title like this too. Everything Means Nothing to Me, which again is supposed to be a reference of him just being pissed off about people always wanting to do shit in the future, not living in the moment. So that's kind of what the song is a reference to. I will say, like, there's excellent piano work all over this track. That mixed well with the very frail vocal performance, and it makes it very emotional overall. And like the song picks up a bit in the final chorus, the echoing drums and the synth that kind of kick in, really gives it the song like this very dreamy feel, kind of like, especially going out into the outro and everything like that. It's another short one, but I mean, there's kind of a lot to take in this short runtime and with how minimal it mostly feels.
Okay, so I may have some conflicting thoughts on this here. So you're telling me how like sad and this sort of backstory to it and everything. Well, if it's not obvious, we do our review separate. So any of this background information Kris knows, Savannah does not. So her first note for this song is, it begins like a Christmas song. Yep. You know what? I'll take the L. That's fine.
Didn't get what he wanted for Christmas, so everything meant nothing to him.
Yeah, right? Oh my God. I'm not sure that I like the vocal melody. Apologies to anybody watching this video. I am highly uncomfortable in my chair and I will not stop moving.
It looked like that scene in Ace Ventura 2 when he's pretending the road's all bumpy and he keeps like flailing around all crazy.
I don't think that is a movie I remember. But not sure I like the vocal melody. The chorus is straightforward, as it's really just the song title repeated over and over. But I do feel like the end-ish, maybe the last third, gets kind of cinematic with the drums and like strings. I'm assuming that's synth strings through the whole thing, right?
It could even very well be a mellotron, which essentially is a synthesizer, but yes, I believe it is. Yeah, I don't think there's real strings on this album.
I didn't think so, but I always just say strings and then you'll correct me anyways.
Actually.
But oh my god, the amount of that is a discussion for a different day.
Or Kofi.
Oh, it is. Let's listen to Savannah rant at how rude people are to her about wrestling because they think she's stupid.
Yes.
She's not. Anyways, I like how cinematic it gets. I do feel like it's kind of more like an interlude, just the way that it sounds. I probably wouldn't listen to this as a straight song. I would want to lump it in with a different song to kind of either have it run into or just sort of buffered a little bit. It was okay, but I don't see myself listening to it just as a standalone track, unlike some of the other ones so far.
And interesting enough, this one starts side B. of the first album. This is a double album, like for vinyl at the very least. And this actually starts side B.
Really? I thought that it might be half and half, but it's not half and half.
Yeah, again, there's 2 vinyls, so there's 4 sides altogether. Everything reminds me of Her ended side A. This one starts side B. And side B ends with Stupidity Tries, which will come.
I didn't know there were 4. Okay, that kind of puts it in a little bit of context.
There's like
but
2 of these bad boys here.
In the year 2000, they're probably focused more on the CD anyways, but having it like that for the vinyl, that seems to make sense.
Yeah, and I have one other Elliott Smith album. I'm gonna get them all eventually. I really like Elliott Smith, but like, yeah, I don't think obviously you don't have that in mind. Especially I have his Roman Candle EP, and I mean like that was written on like a 4-track recorder, like really really like low quality stuff, but like it's still a great album. But like I can't imagine they thought about putting that on vinyl at any point until like I don't know, later on in the career or something like that.
Interesting.
All right, we'll move on to song number 6, the one that you were familiar with coming into this one, L.A.
My first line. You've had me listen to this song before, and it definitely was the only Elliott Smith song I had heard. Up until this point, clearly I've listened to the last couple of songs on this album, but after listening to Sloan, this reminds me of that album. I can't describe it. It's kind of like a lo-fi sort of college band vocals to it. And I'm totally fine with that. I like that. It sounds very, I don't know, rough in a polished way, if that makes sense. It's like a polished diamond, but it has its imperfections. But that's what makes it unique. That's what makes it nice, you know?
Yeah.
I like that. And I like this song. It's funny because there are a lot of songs that you'll get me to listen to, whether it's for the show or just sort of not.
And whether you listen to them or not is a whole other question.
I have a terrible memory. But as soon as this song started, I was like, I've heard this song before. So it was memorable enough that when I listened to it again, I was like, okay, I'm definitely on board with this a second time.
Did you at least remember where you heard it the first time?
Oh, for sure. Like I knew it was on here.
Was this at work or something?
I reckon. Oh my God, that was listening to Guster. There you go, another one.
Oh, too many cards already. We're already done.
All the songs on that I hear at my work. But yeah, no, it reminds me of that, and I like the song. I liked it before, and I still like it now.
Very good, because I was gonna say, I think you on that mixtape episode you A-tiered the song.
I think it was my only A tier, and it was number 1 out of the 10.
Awesome. That means I chose something good on that list, because I know you D-tiered a couple other songs, so whatever.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but this is a really fun track. It brings back that energy that's on the Sandpad, if not like a little more so.
Yes.
So I really do like that. The verses are great. I especially like how like a portion of it rides on the same root note while like going through chord changes. I always think that's cool, especially when done properly. It's done awesome here. I really like it. And the chorus is really good too. Great instrumental hook, and the simple hook of just like him saying L.A. It makes it really memorable too, because it's just easy to sing along to. And then like the dead note strumming when he's saying that too, I really like that. It's just very melodic in its own way. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of fun things happening in this song.
Jumping off it being fun, this song, it sounds sunny. It just reminds me of, fluffy clouds and a blue sky, green grass, driving around in the summertime, sunroof open, getting a forehead sunburn, but you don't give a shit because the music is awesome. And all you want to do all day is waste $600 in gas driving around listening to this song. And I noticed that the guitar tone, it's not as bright as the rest of the song, but it sounds fantastic. I love it. It adds this, again, nostalgic feeling because maybe it's of its time, because I really like songs or albums and bands that existed around this time 5 years before, but there's just something about it, again, just like Son of Sam and that other one, that is just the light is beaming from my brain every time I listen to it.
I believe that was Junk Bond Trader we were talking about.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away. I'll just go, yeah, that other one, back then.
What do you mean not give it away? We already talked about it.
No, but I don't want you to have to read me I don't want you to read me like a book and be like, this is Savannah's top 5.
72 episodes later.
I know her. Ew, no.
And also, I don't know if I think it was off camera when I said what I thought the score of the album was going to be from you. But I gave you 2 scores. One if you liked it and one if you didn't like it. So far, it's trending in the former direction. So, I mean...
We're not even halfway through, though.
We're not even halfway through. So I'm just saying it's trending that way.
Fair.
So that doesn't mean it'll end up there. You might tank the second half of the album for all I know. Jeez, anything can happen at this point. But yeah, I really like the song. A lot of fun things happening. I'm surprised it's not a single. And if it is, I just somehow missed it. But it's one of the more memorable ones at the very least. There's also like an interesting end to the song. It kind of just ends and then goes on some quiet humming. It almost gives the song like a very surreal quality. Mm-hmm. And it actually kind of adds on to like some dreamlike quality that some other songs have too. So it almost makes this whole album feel like kind of a daydream at points.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
I got nothing else other than I like the song and I want to listen to it again.
Cool. Well, you have all the opportunity to.
Damn right I do. And I will not even do my review for next week because I'll be too busy listening to this song on repeat.
We have a request coming up next week. Wink, nudge. Yeah. So you kind of have to be polite. Fine. Roll your eyes. I hope this person watches and doesn't like you for that. I'm the better host.
I assume no one likes me anyways. I don't care. Whatever.
Suit yourself. You said it, not me. Song number 7 in the Lost and Found Honky Bach, which is in parentheses / The Roost.
Well, the piano bar returns. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Sounds cool. Kind of sounds like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it other than like an old-timey cartoon character playing the piano. Down for it. There's definitely a sound happening, and I'm noticing just from the tracks we've listened to and the rest of the album, it has. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It has a sound, but it also just has a feel to it where each song kind of has a similar vibe, a similar feel to it. And it wasn't lost in this song. So this was definitely belonged with the group of them. I do feel like the vocal melody could be placed on a different piece of music and it would still sound good, which I think is awesome. Because not all songs are like that.
Yeah, do some sort of vocal mashup with this song and then just literally any other one on the record or another record as well.
Yeah, why not? Pitch shift it a little.
Oh, by the way, I should mention that while we're talking about Figure 8 too. I'm pretty sure some people are aware of this. I can't remember the name of the project, Green Fingers or something like that. But what it is someone took the instrumentals of this album and put Notorious B.I.G. rapping over top of it. And oh my God, does that album fucking slap.
Really?
Holy shit, it is so good. Some songs don't hold as well, but holy shit, like for the most part, that album is so goddamn good.
Interesting.
Just do that one instead next time. So it's all Elliott Smith instrumentals, and then you have like Notorious B.I.G. rapping over top of it. It's so good.
Just like a little side note, as we do, mentioning that Elliott Smith had passed away when he was 34, our age. That is wild because, we're that age. I can't imagine that. Biggie passed away in his early 20s.
Who?
It's like Notorious B.I.G.
Oh, yeah.
He was like 23 or something.
Prime of his career.
But it's like you fucking think of that and you're like, oh, everyone talks about him and he has all these posthumous records and albums and songs and everything and blah, blah, blah. And then you look it up and you're like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Like at 23, I don't even know. I was a little baby.
No, yeah, I know. And I was just looking up. He was nearly 25 when he passed away.
Oh, at 25, I was a baby.
Yeah, I know, right?
Holy smokes.
All these things that were happening way before our time. And then when you think about who passed away, like when we hit 27 and then you think about all the musicians who passed away at 27.
Right? You're like, there's so much in my life that I haven't done. I cannot imagine dying right now. And then it's just like, it's wild. It puts a lot into perspective for you.
Exactly. We've gone way off topic.
Yep.
This whole podcast has gone in the lost and found at this point. Jesus.
That's fine. It's all my fault.
So yeah, I guess I'll rattle off some points now, considering I haven't done any of that yet for this song.
Please do.
So the higher end piano tones never really sat super well with me in the song. I mean, the entire first verse is kind of hard to sit through because of it. It's not awful, but I'm just like
a piano bar.
That with the low end vocals, I don't know. It's not hitting it for me. But once the chorus kicks in, like the lower end of the piano comes in, it's far more palatable. I at least enjoy that. The bridge is a really nice addition too. It's nice to have all the synth, all that synth work kind of make the song a little more atmospheric at that point. So that's enjoyable. Although again, it doesn't really last too long, but it's nice while it's there. The song ends in a very pretty way though. So I'll talk about that kind of like second portion of the song called The Roost. Which is like just kind of this weird interlude kind of going to the next song. It's only like about nearly a minute long. It's completely foreign to what Lost and Found had, at the very least. But I do like this like dreamy psychedelic kind of feel. And fun fact that this song is actually a demo of a demo. So The Roost is actually a lead-in for an unreleased track called Dancing on the Highway.
Interesting.
So I just thought I'd throw that in there. And then I went on Dancing on the Highways is like a song I've heard of but never really listened to. So I went back and listened to it, and then you can definitely hear like it's in there.
Interesting. I thought that because this song was a quote unquote slash song, like this song and this song, that it would maybe change halfway through. But after repeat listens, I found that it just ended normally. It was rather pleasing. I did like the end. I could not recall what it sounded like independently, but it wasn't too disconnected from the actual bulk of the song. So that was cool. I do like the accordion sounds. Again, I assume that's done with a synthesizer or keyboard or something, or maybe it is an accordion. Who knows? Doesn't matter. I liked it. Sounded good. And it sounds like sounds like an end of album song.
Just can't remember what I said about it before. No, this one does not end it. Okay. I was thinking this one ended side B and it does not.
Oh, no. It sounds like it would be a good song to have maybe 3 to the end.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of fine where it is on the album, considering the songs that come up. I like where this one is. But yeah, kind of going back to what I said before about like the album kind of having like this dreamlike quality at certain points. Like obviously The Roost would definitely fit the narrative this time for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe there is some sort of credence to what I'm saying, but as far as I'm concerned, this isn't like a concept album. So who knows?
Not me.
Neither do I. So we'll move on then because we're not talking about that. So number 8, Stupidity Tries. And I got to say my very first note. I said this damn well better be your number 1 song, Savannah, because they actually say your fucking name in it.
1, didn't hear it. So clearly my stupidity was not trying.
Oof.
Yep. Now I feel silly.
You hear very clearly too. Just like in the first pre-chorus.
We don't do lyrical analysis. At what point would I be paying attention to the lyrics?
No, we don't do lyrical analysis, but you can understand words though. You don't have to do analysis.
Okay, that is a pretty large claim that I would understand something. Now I have to look it up.
I'll let you do that while I say my other notes besides that. Yes. I do love the guitar work throughout this entire track. It acts as like a great accompaniment, as a call and answer to the vocals. As I mentioned before, like this is pretty good. This isn't so much call and answer as it is like mimicking the vocal melody or vice versa. It's kind of like Elliott will sing and then the guitar kind of does a few notes. Elliott sings again, guitar does a few notes, some chords and everything like that. It's just like this great back and forth playfulness between the two. And I really like that.
I'm very sad I didn't hear my name.
Now you have to go back and listen to it.
It starts a verse and I really should have heard that.
Shoulder raised by cheer. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just so self-involved that anytime someone says my name, I'm like, yep, as they should. And I don't even pay attention.
He knows.
Yeah, exactly. I was 15 when he passed away. So he could have known me. Who knows?
All the way at the other end of the country, in a different country, that is. So all the way on the other end of the continent, I should say.
I had to MySpace.
Ooh, yeah, and he found you.
I love your dedication to completely breaking my spirit. Thank you.
Someone's got to do it.
The chords, I found the chords sounded like pretty tropical. I don't know how else to describe it other than I wish I heard a xylophone. That would have been cool.
No, my God, that would have ruined it.
I would have loved it. I can see this being played at a high school prom in a coming of age movie. And it didn't really get me until the instrumental ending. And for some reason, I really enjoyed that much more than the beginning or like the bulk of the song. I like the ending. That was good.
I love this whole song because like even in the first half of the song before the instrumental ending, like it just feels like there's a lot of building going on. Mm-hmm. Like you have your quieter moments, it builds up, and like the choruses and everything like that just get like a lot more intense and everything like that. So I really like that. And like the vocal harmonies in the choruses too are like another kind of great choice. Adds a lot more depth and good texture to the sound. Like just a lot of smart choices all over this album. I really like it. But then I have like one longer note for the final half. So if you have anything to say, I would just say it now.
I do not actually. Please go ahead.
So yeah, that the second half of the song, I didn't write down exactly how long it is, but the song's 4 minutes and 24 seconds, so it's like almost a good half of the song. The ending gives me chills every single time. An excellent last leg of the song. The last pre-chorus like really brings the song to its peak and launches us beautifully into like this last minute and a half. There you go. I did write it down of the song. I'm reading this verbatim, by the way. The riffs are a lot of fun and everything feels so warm and pretty here. Elliott's vocal interjections are very fitting. The drum fills are a hell of a lot of fun. The strings help to bring the track out of... Wait, the strings to help bring... What the fuck does that...
Looks like someone needs some commas. Don't.
No, I have far too many commas. I think that's a problem. Well... I was just saying that the strings are also a great addition because they kind of like help ring out the track at the very end is what I think I meant to say, because they kind of start kicking in and they're like some of the last things that you hear. Fantastic choice. And I mean, overall, I can just say, as hard as I may search, I see no flaws here.
Cool. Yeah, I got nothing else.
I mean, just I think ever since I've like purchased this album a long time ago, it's been one of my absolute favorite songs on the album. So I mean, spoiler, it's pretty high on my list, but I mean, I don't care. I love it.
Interesting.
All right, so song number 9, starting album vinyl 2 side C, I guess. Easy Way Out.
So I'm just going to preface all of this with I didn't like this song as much as some of the other ones. I actually found that this song sounded very similar to a lot of the ones that sound similar to this, where it's sort of slow. And what I'm finding about this album so far is that the first time I listened to it, it sounded quite melancholy, but now I just kind of feel like a lot of the songs are starting to sound similar. It's not similar. Well, I guess because it is sort of similar in vibe, having these sort of slower songs like Sans the drums, they kind of blend in with each other with me. But then again, I haven't been spending years and years listening to it to kind of discern a difference. But upon just a couple of listens, I found that this song was starting to sound similar to a couple of the ones that came before it. So this one kind of was the casualty because it came last in that group.
I get why and how this sounds similar to some of the other songs, especially from the beginning of the album and everything like that. I guess it never really bothered me as much because I like what this one does. Because like it also has like a good kind of like emotional waltzy feel. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it had that going and it kind of caught my attention a little bit. And it was also a nice come down from the previous track as well. Like Stupidity Tries got kind of intense towards the end there. Like not intense like in a hyper way, but I mean just like intense. Like it really kind of like got really grand and big. So this one was like a good come down. So it was nice to notice that at the very least. The synth strings I thought were like a really good choice in this song too. I thought they were great. They don't go overboard and they match the tone very well. They don't just go off in some weird high pitched violin bullshit solo or something along the lines of that. more great vocal harmonies in this song too. Like it gives it almost very somber feeling. I mean, that's a lot of points on the album, but like there's something about the background vocals in this one that just kind of really do it for this. So I like that. It's like just another emotional number, and again, it's nice to have this one as it come down at this point.
I feel like I would have liked it if the band sort of came in at the end and sort of gave it a little bit of a push. I feel like it would have benefited from a little loudness, I guess. It would have sort of changed it a little. But then again, it may have just been a creative choice where it's like, here's what the song is about. This is what I want the music to match it. So we're just going to, sort of slow it down the whole time. So.
Yeah, like a vast majority of these songs are written on like piano or guitar, and that's how they come into the studio. And then if a band is added, that's usually done a little later. Yeah. So, I mean, this one probably just felt good on its own in their eyes and everything like that. So that's entirely possible. Yeah. The only other note I have, like the bridge is really super pretty. I like it. The acoustic occasionally play some like higher chords, and they're really beautiful with everything else going on. So I took a lot of notice of that, really enjoyed it, and just, again, thought there was some smart writing going on in this one.
I was just hoping that it picks up going forward.
Well, it more or less does. I mean, there's another couple of quiet points in there.
I feel like out of the 16 tracks that not quite half of them have sort of a full band sort of intense feel, where a lot of them are sort of that slow guitar, piano, desperate sound. And for one, I really like the upbeat stuff. So that's always what I'm looking forward to. So just listening to this song is just, I'm hoping that there's one or two more of these upbeat ones coming up. So
1, 2, 3, 4 for sure.
Thank God.
Just kind of looking ahead on the list there. I mean, so I would wonder how you would fare with like some of his other works, because I mean, if you like the more upbeat, full band sounding stuff, XO would be a good album. From the Basement on the Hill might be okay, but it's also a very like rough cut album, because again, it was posthumous and it wasn't even finished by the time he died. Mm-hmm. Like a bunch of producers came together and finished it for him essentially.
Kevin Gilbert's Shaming of the True, the exact same thing happened. There's a bunch of recorded stuff, bunch of notes, and they pieced it all together and released it four years after he died.
Yeah. The Either Or album it's like a very heavy mix of like light band work and just like a lot of acoustic work. Because like that was the album where the drums kind of didn't become they didn't become a mainstay until XO, which is the album before this. Either Or was before that, and the drums would kind of make appearances, like it was kind of just being introduced. And then the first two albums, Roman Candle and Self-Titled, are like very just 4-track recording, mainly just acoustic and singing, but some of the best songwriting he's ever done in his career are on those albums. So I mean, it's very hit or miss. I don't know if you would like the other ones or not, but they sound fantastic.
I think for me, it depends what degree of sadness I'm feeling, because I'm definitely one where it's like, if I feel sad, I want to listen to sad songs and like sort of fall into it until I feel, okay, this is enough. Now the music is depressing me. So then I have to listen to something more upbeat. But just currently right now, I'm not in that sort of valley, that sort of sadness pool. So I want to listen to more upbeat ones. But at least I know where to go, that when I feel sad, I can listen to something.
Listen to Roman Candle. That EP, it is so fucking sad. And Condor Avenue is extremely sad, but it's also probably his best song in his entire catalog. Really? It is like one of the best folk songs. Like, I will go out there and say one of the best folk songs of all time, period.
Really?
It is such a fucking amazingly written song, very wordy. There's not even really a chorus in it. It's just like a long stretch, but like the instrumentation is beautiful. There's a lot going on, and just, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. I love it.
Wow. I'll have to check that out. Actually check that out.
Yeah, let's see if you actually do. So we will now move on. So that was Easy Way Out. So we're on to song number 10, Wouldn't Mama Be Proud?
Good. It picked up from the last song. Very pleased when this song started.
So the real question was, would Savannah be proud? And so far it seems so.
It's songs like this that make me want to pick up my guitar again. And trust me, it's been a really long time. I like these upbeat sounding songs. They're super pleasing. And I really like that organ solo in the middle. Very nice. Again, pleasing. And I just like this song. It's so, I don't know. It's very sunny day again. And it makes me want to play my guitar really badly.
I can see you liking this one, yeah. Like just kind of thinking of it off the top of my head and everything like that. Yeah, this one like kicks off right away from the previous track too. Like there's not really a moment to reflect, but it's like it's right there. But you know what? It's all right because the song's still generally pretty chill, I should say. The pickup in the second verse kind of brings an appropriate amount of energy, so
yeah.
There's more to go on in the song than just what the first bit of the song gives you, so that's kind of good. I like that it was there because again, you don't want to like go too long without like some sort of pickup, even if it's just a small one. So it's nice to have this. And obviously, like the refrain is really catchy, memorable too. The chorus is like super easy. It's nice to have something to carry you through the song. So I mean, it's got some good things going for it.
Mm-hmm. I don't have much for this other than I really want to play my guitar. He makes playing sound easy, so clearly there's something up with that, because when it's difficult but it sounds easy, fuck you. Just make it easy. I want to play too.
Just learn how to do flamingo picking and learn the song Tomorrow.
Maybe. I mean, my claim to fame is playing Hotel Yorba by the White Stripes, which is not hard at all. It's literally just 3 chords.
Yeah.
And We Are Gonna Be Friends by the White Stripes off the same album. That's picking, and that's too much for my pea brain. So I'm at like novice level Z right now, novice level Z. So, but
I can't tell if that's good. I can't tell if Z would be a good or a bad thing at this point.
Bad thing, because novice level A is probably good, because like A, triple A, double A, etc. I don't know.
Suppose I'm just thinking about like A, B, and everything, like alpha, omega, alpha, beta, and then omega being all the way at the bottom.
English. We speak English.
Alpha and beta are English words, kind of.
Only one more note for this one. I like that it starts with pretty heavy bass drums. It definitely got my attention, and I'm glad that it did, because of the last few songs being a lot slower, I really needed that. And I know that, Stupidity Tries, it wasn't 100% slow, but it also wasn't full band for the entire song. So in my head, the majority of it was slow. The song was slow. Yeah. But I like this one. This one's good.
The only other thing I have to say too is like, as good as some of the spots were, like this song doesn't catch me as much, and it never really did either. I don't hate it. Like I don't mind listening to the song at all, but I mean, I don't know. There's not a whole lot about this one, especially this far into the album, that catches me too much.
Yeah.
Listening to it on its own every once in a while is fine, but like if I'm listening to other tracks on the album, like this is one of the ones I jump to first. I'll say that much. But yeah, it's not bad though. I don't mind it.
Likewise, I didn't mind it either.
Cool. Then we'll move on then. We're kind of just flying through this kind of at this point.
Yeah.
Song number 11, Color Bars.
They're all short songs too. Well, I guess last one was over 3 minutes, but this one's just over 2. I thought that this song was going to be slow again. And I really, 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 really like the shakers and the piano together. Oh, it just added this dimension I did not expect to get. I liked it. And I don't know how to describe the song other than cute. It's just, it has a delicate feeling to it, but not a delicate, like, oh, it's fragile, he's emotionally, going through it. It sounds cute. And I like it.
It's got a cute little bouncy feel to it.
Yeah. I like it.
It has like a lot of that indie charm, so to speak, I guess is the best way. Like indie folk kind of charm.
Yeah, my next note just says, this has a sense of, we just wrote this and we want to play it for the first time, and this is what we got. Mm-hmm. This is what we ended up with. So it definitely has that indie feel to it.
I think, again, not necessarily doing a lyrical analysis, but I think this song is about how it's not super depressing. It's still kind of a bummer, but it's not super depressing.
Oh no! Can I read my line about this before you tell me?
Sure, why not?
It's uppity, and I really hope the lyrics aren't dark.
if you ever say that about an Elliott Smith song, you're just gonna get laughed out of the fucking room.
Damn it. Okay, tell me.
Okay,
Tell me.
this might not even necessarily correct. It's just kind of what I take, and also what people have said as well. It's kind of how Elliott has viewed himself in the mainstream, and how like he was kind of like an afterthought, especially at like after Miss Misery. Like once that song was kind of out of the picture,
Yeah.
no one really cared. And so, I mean, the opening line sounds like it could have to do with sex, because he literally says, "I see color bars when I come."
Yeah.
But that could also be like color bars on a TV, meaning like when he comes out to perform on like a talk show or whatever, like the show's already off the air and everyone's already gone by that point. So
I never thought of it that way.
And just his kind of like overall not so positive view on like fame and spotlight. So that I think that's what this song is kind of like referencing.
Interesting. I never thought of it that way.
It's hard to say. But yeah, this song has a really nice watery flow to it. I love it. The piano plays like a really big part in that, obviously. Yeah. I love the light swelling of strings in the bridge, and like that's just like another nice touch, and adds like more warm atmosphere to the song. So yeah, it does have that uppity feel. You have to listen. I said it before, you have to listen to Memory Lane. Okay, if you like things that sound really bouncy and uppy and happy, but something that's like absolutely lyrically devastating, you have to listen to Memory Lane. Like, just write that shit down in your forehead. I don't care. Just
I'll stick it up on one of my 1,000 tabs.
It's also another like a really good folky like finger pick kind of song. Like it's kind of a fast paced little bouncer, but then yeah, just the lyrics are just oh no.
Okay, it's up, and I will listen to it when we are finished.
You had better. And my only other note was just like Elliott's got like a real way with these like short and sweet numbers and everything like that. There's not a whole lot going on in the song, but damn if it's not enjoyable.
Yes. There has only been, I think, maybe one song so far that it was short. And I was like, oh, like I want a little bit more of this. Maybe it's coming up. I don't remember. But I like maybe wanted a little more. But for the most part, like everything that was needed was there. And it didn't need anything more. And if you can say everything that you need to say in 2 minutes, cool. Then you can just say more, which clearly he did.
Yeah, which makes him a good songwriter. He knows when to stretch, he knows when not to. So I mean, yeah, it's just one of those times.
Yeah, and my last one for this song is there. It sounds like there's a lot of heart in here, where you can tell it translates very well from just his heart to your ears to your heart, and you're getting that. And this one, along with some of the other ones, but this one specifically, I noted that it's on the playlist already. I think I actively added 3 of them while I was listening to the album for the first time. So I didn't even hear it a second time and go, yeah, okay, sure, I'll put it on my playlist. No, like listen to it first time, it was on there, so it's on there forever now.
Good. Sounds good. I'm glad that you're liking more and more Elliott Smith as you go. I've only been talking about it for like a year now, and we're finally here. Dang. And this is only one album too. I mean, like, I think XO is his like most commercially viable album, and then other ones off that, it just depends on how much you like them.
And that clearly came out in the 90s if this was his last one before he passed away, right?
XO was like 97, 98, I think.
Ooh, it's going to have so many tones and sounds that I like.
You may have heard one of the songs off that album, even if you don't know what it is. It's called Waltz Number 2. Yeah. And it was on a few soundtracks. It was big in like the early emo movement of the 2000s, like before My Chemical Romance and all that stuff, like back when like Bright Eyes and Modest Mouse were a thing. Like Waltz Number 2 by Elliott Smith was one of those tracks making the rounds.
Interesting. I'll have to write that down too.
You're going to have a whole sticky note full of shit. You're going to need like 2 sticky notes.
You know how many sticky notes I already have that I ignore? So many.
Oh, great. So then you're just not going to listen to any of these.
Exit all of them.
Just shut down laptop at end of recording. You're just like, oh, wait, shit. What are those songs again?
Yes.
All right, we'll move on to song number 12. I just want to see where the hell this is on the record. This is the last song on side C, and then the slash to the song of the Gondola Man actually starts side D. That's so weird.
Interesting. Okay, well, that's probably why it also sounds like an interlude, because it
very
just
much
started a different one. Yeah.
So yeah, song number 12, Happiness, and the Gondola Man. It's like a 2 songs in one type thing.
I like the deep drums. They seem very orchestral, like those. I don't know if they're called something different, but those drums that sit on the floor and you hit them with a mallet, like the gigantic ones. That's what this sounded like and it felt like. I like that a lot. And I love the bass. I don't know if it's a stand-up or if it's just, it sounds hollow and beautiful. And I like it.
Yeah, it's probably just an electric bass, I would imagine. Maybe even an acoustic bass.
Oh, maybe it's acoustic then, because it definitely sounds like a cello or something like larger than what would come out of an electric bass. So I like it. Super down for it already.
That also just might be the acoustic guitar as well, because like Elliott, one of the things he's fantastic for, he always has like this really like, I have always referred to it as like a hyper bass root. And it's not necessarily hyper, but the thing is, like, you know how chord changes can happen all the time. He might play the same chord, but keep changing the root over and over again. So the bass note of the chord. So you might just be hearing his acoustic for the most part. So,
well, fuck you for not doing it properly and by innovating. So then I don't know what I'm talking about.
Wouldn't be the first
sounds
time.
Delicious. Sounds delicious.
There you go. But I did write about that guitar, though, just from the beginning. The guitar opening, absolutely awesome. It feels iconic in its own right, especially amongst Elliott Smith fans. Like, that guitar riff in the beginning is one of the first things you think about. As if you don't immediately jump to like a song like Miss Misery, one of his most famous songs, and chances are this riff will probably pop up. So like, it's nice to hear. It's a very pretty riff too. And I know that you mentioned like the acoustic sounding drum and everything like that, like the low tone, but they also have this muffled drum loop that kind of happens through the entire song. It kind of sounds like slightly quiet and distorted. I thought that was an interesting choice, and it added something like new this late into the album. But it didn't really like stand out like a sore thumb. So it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, you didn't introduce this earlier, so this just feels weird. It's like, this felt like a natural progression. It didn't overtake anything. It just felt like it should have been there. So I like that they included that.
You just talking about the guitar riff. I don't know if this is really what I was talking about, or referencing rather. But there is a chord progression in here that sounds very familiar, and I just cannot place it. I know it's a song I like, so I assume it's a good thing, but there are just a couple chords that like they run off each other, and I'm just like, oh, it just sounds so nostalgic, and it's weird because it feels like I have like this. I don't know if there's like a deja vu for something that I've never experienced before, but that's what this feels like. It feels like there are bits and pieces of this that I've heard and that I like, but it's not this, but I like this. And I feel like maybe I've heard this before, but I know that I haven't. It's very strange. It's pleasing, but confusing.
I feel like the song would have ended up in a soundtrack at some point, somewhere in time. And this is one of the singles too. So, I mean, it made its rounds somewhere, right? So maybe you have heard the song, but it's one of those things maybe you heard once or twice, don't really remember anything about it. But like that chord progression is kind of like popping back up in your head. You're like, this sounds familiar. What is it? So maybe that is the deja vu you're talking about.
Maybe. I have a feeling, and now I don't know if this is accurate or not, and I'm probably not going to ask, but I have a feeling that there was one or two people that I went to high school with, like that I was close to, that listened to him. And this would have been around maybe 2004, 2005-ish.
Just around the time of his passing. So like people were like doing vigils in his name at this point.
Maybe that is it. And maybe I heard it there, but there's just something about this song that it sparks something in there. And it's not the light. It's just, it sparks a confusion in my brain. But having said that, I liked it. The end sounded like an interlude, like I said, but if it starts the next side, then clearly it was supposed to sort of be an interlude, or at least sort of stand alone, which makes a lot of sense why why happiness ends and then the end comes up on its own.
But even as a decision for a CD, though, like I don't know.
I guess that makes sense.
It was a single CD as far as I'm concerned.
I wonder if on the CD they were separate tracks.
No, it was probably combined, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Maybe with the record it's just separated so that way you can have like equal spacing on each side of the record, right?
Yeah.
you don't want one too tight and the other one have like way too much loose end on the other side. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. It sounds good as an interlude, but as like if you thought it was a standalone song, like the title would infer, you'd be incorrect. But if you take them separately and you don't rate them together, they're both fantastic. I liked them both.
It's funny because generally I know most fans don't really care for the Gondola Man, and God, what is it? I can't remember. It's apparently a portion of a Murder of Crows song, like one of his previous bands from high school, because they recorded like a small album. It wasn't like a major thing or anything like that, but apparently it's a riff from one of their songs. I can't remember, and that might not even necessarily be true, but I remember reading that at the very least.
Interesting.
And also, it is worth noting too that at this point in time, Elliott was starting to get into the experimental side of things, which you can kind of hear portions of that on this album. And I think that, adding the Gondola Man on here is probably an indicator of that, because Basement on the Hill would also have some pretty experimental stuff in it. Like, it still sounds like Elliott, but it's just done very differently. Like, apparently towards the end of his life, he was just starting to get around to like experimenting with like GarageBand, which is like an Apple program to record with. He hadn't recorded digitally up to that point, but he was getting into that. He's like, oh, I can just add all these like weird sounds and I don't need pedals for it and everything like that. So he was just starting to touch on that before he passed away. So maybe this is like an indicator of where things were going to go if he indeed kept living.
Interesting, morbid, but interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like a fun, bouncy track. Really love it, and especially like everything leading up to the final portion of the song. It has like such a grand and warm feeling. I know I said that prior to Stupidity Tries, but like it's still true for this one too. It's a great super long. It's sing along. That's what I meant. It's super catchy. I like how the instrumentals like kind of gradually break down as it's going along too, and it gives it like a more intimate like closer to the track. I really enjoy that. So yeah, like overall, this one's fine. Gondola Man, I'm kind of hit or miss on, as most Elliott Smith fans are, but it won't affect the score though.
Likewise, ish, kinda.
Well, maybe. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so song number 13, just moving right along. So we still got a few more to go. This is a long album.
Yeah, it is.
Only numerically, time-wise, it's only 52 minutes. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Song number 13, Pretty Mary Kay.
I just imagine the makeup and nail stuff that my mom used to get from Mary Kay that I would find all over the house as a kid.
Oh, that was actually a makeup brand?
Oh, yeah. It was like, what is it? Like Avon. It's like Avon. So.
Well, it's funny because like a lot of people would like to know what Elliott's referencing when he says Mary Kay, because it's clearly a character.
Yeah.
So I guess here's some analysis for you. I guess this is something I've known for a while though, so this is pretty interesting. So on another posthumous release called New Moon, which came out in 2006 or 7, I think. It had a bunch of like demos and unreleased tracks, and one of them was Pretty Mary Kay alternate version, completely different from this one, and it's a song about a prostitute essentially named Mary Kay.
Oh, okay.
But coming into this one, people aren't so sure it's the same story, because especially reading through the lyrics, it could reference one of three things. It could be another take on this prostitute named Mary Kay. Yeah. The song could be about his mom, or it could be about ketamine.
Okay, so it's not about like Avon Mary Kay direct.
I didn't see that in any of people's breakdowns, so I'm going to assume it's not about makeup.
Okay. I hope it's not about drugs. So this definitely sounds like something I would hear from the Grapes of Wrath. Now, I have listened to every one of their albums, so I would like to think that I am the authority in saying that. I think it is a Grapes of Wrath song that Kevin Kane sings, to be even more specific, because there are two singers. Even down to the organ, it just screams to me Grapes of Wrath. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I like them. It's good. I literally have nothing else for this song aside from it's a short song and I want to listen to more of it. This is the one that I heard that I was like, there was not enough. I want more. I will listen to a 4-minute version of this.
Well, if you like a folkier, quieter sounding version of the song, the alternate version, Pretty Mary Kay from Half Moon, you can check that one out too. It's very different though. It's nowhere near the same. Just letting you know. It actually kind of if it kind of feels more like Color Bars. If you want to compare it to anything on this album, it feels like Color Bars.
I typed in Pretty Mary Kay because I'm trying to keep an actual list of the things that you're referencing that I should listen
in parentheses to. Alternate version, just throwing that out there.
But it's written as Mary Kay, just the letter. It's not Kay like Spotify says. So I'm starting to feel maybe it is about drugs.
It might be, well, especially with the lyrics in this version saying, I have faith in the infirmary. There's a soldier lying in bed with a wound to the head calling out to Pretty Mary Kay. So, I mean, ketamine is used for pain, right? So
interesting. Well, I had no idea.
Well, I mean,
just know it's a recreational drug.
It's just one of those things that people can get easily addicted to. This song to me has probably some of the best vocal harmonies on the entire album. Like it is just, they're all over the place and they really do enhance the sound a lot. I love it. I think it sounds fantastic. The chorus effect on the guitar is kind of nice too. I really like that. The watery texture it gives everything is just super pretty. Mm-hmm. The song has like a nice pickup, but drops off just a little too quickly. And just kind of like you said, I feel like another minute or so could have really been tagged on to flush out the song in its entirety.
Yes, I definitely agree 100%. And it's not normal for me to be like, oh, give me more of this song. Normally I'm like, okay, could you please shut the fuck up, please? And I will say please a third time. But this one, yeah, I could have done with more.
It's weird. I forgot I wrote that note until I read it. And I was just like, oh my God, we agreed.
For once. On track, what, 12, 13?
13.
Sheesh.
All right. I mean, it was a short enough track, so I guess we can move on. We're kind of getting towards the end here. Song number 14, Better Be Quiet Now.
So just like what Everything reminds me of her and whatever the one came after it, Everything something.
Means nothing to me.
Everything means nothing to me. Those I feel like could go together, just the song titles, where this one, Better Be Quiet Now, and the next one, Can't Make a Sound. I'm like, I feel like this might be telling a story here with this. But with this track, Better Be Quiet Now, I really like acoustic songs, if not solely for the audible string slides. They are so prevalent, and even listening to it with headphones, you can hear everything, and it just sounds so raw. And I like that. And I feel it adds to the don't you hurt like I hurt feeling. And it makes me sad, but I like it. I don't know. It's weird.
It's a very intimate feeling. Like it feels like a very one-on-one, like he's playing it right in front of you type thing.
Oh, definitely.
Like I like that about certain songs. Like I know a lot of artists work to take out like string slides and like the little like the sounds that your fingers make when they come off the strings on the fretboard. You can hear that. Like depending on the song, maybe it's better to take it out. But like songs like this, like those little things are kind of what adds personality to the song, and it really makes it feel real. Not that it wouldn't either way, but I mean, like it feels like a real person, a real song, like a real thing happening right now. Like it's just right there, super clear in your headphones. Feels nice, sounds nice. It's all good.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, this is another sad folky song, but damn if it ain't pretty. But I mean, just the way I feel about it. There's not a lot to say about it, even though it's 3.5 minutes, but still. It's a song that kind of like mainly revolves around acoustic and vocals, but I mean you have like later addition of like vocal harmonies, a light electric guitar, and it's a nice little touch to keep the song interesting. But I like the way this one was written. It feels similar to some of the other slower tracks, but this one I feel stands out just a bit more. Like I feel like it has something a little more going on. I really enjoy it. So yeah, I don't know, not bad at all.
I like it. I really like the acoustic or the electric guitar plucking away in the last half. I feel again added that sort of brightness to it that the acoustic can't really do, especially when you're listening to the acoustic. The entire song, you need sort of that palette cleanser in a way, and having that electric guitar come in later in the song where it wasn't there at the beginning. I like that a lot. And I feel like this is one of those songs that when I'm feeling down, I will gravitate to it because the lyrics speak to me. I didn't look up the lyrics, but I know that that's happened to me before where I'll listen to a song and I'm like, yeah, it's too slow. It's too boring or whatever. But then when I'm really feeling like shit, I'll go back to those songs because I will really it kind of, you need to be in a particular state of mind to really feel what that song is trying to give you. It's like you have to be ready to receive it for it to give it to you. And I feel like if I'm feeling down and out, listening to this would probably make it easier for me to sort of take in what he's trying to give. And just even thinking about it now makes me want to cry. I don't know why. I feel sad.
He has a strong emotional impact with many people who listen to his music.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very emotionally touched because the lyrics are real too. He's not just writing stories. Like, these are very passionate, personal lyrics. These are like straight out of a journal type thing. Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, he means what he's saying here. He's not just trying to make you feel like shit. He's like, I feel like shit, and this is why.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I won't pretend like I haven't been in the state of mind to like listen to albums like this. Like, I mean, like, hey, late aughts and early tens, that was a weird fucking time in my life. Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of Elliott Smith going on back then.
Jeez, I really wish that like there have been times like that in my life, and specifically almost all of 2011. And I really wish that I knew about this or really discovered it back then, because I feel like maybe it would have helped me, because I feel like sometimes I have to sink deeper into sadness in order to be like, okay, too much sad. No, I'm done. That's it. We're out of here. But if you're only feeling medium sad, there's still so far down you can go. But when you're already down there, you're like, okay, no, we're done. I'm suffocating. I need to climb out. And I feel like maybe this would have helped me at the time. Because listening to it now when I'm not in that state of mind, I'm like, we're just going to put you on the back burner just in case.
Yeah, so you get to retroactively like it for that reason now.
Exactly.
Other than that, I got no other note for that song.
Likewise.
All right, so we'll move on to the penultimate track, although I swear this feels like the under. Number 15, Can't Make a Sound. Yeah, this song is just really good at just like building to the very satisfying and hard-hitting finale. I adore it. And like, you can count the song Bye, like the very final song called Bye. You can count that as like the post-credits music, because this one is the true album ender, and it's so damn good for it.
For a song with the title Can't Make a Sound, it sure makes a lot of noise. And I'm okay with that. I thought that it was a great song to have at the end. It isn't too slow or too quiet, and I feel that it leaves everything on an audibly positive note. It's not just like we're listening to something sad again, okay, and then you walk away feeling sad. You kind of walk away feeling a whole range of emotions from the entire album up until now. But then this one is kind of like you're walking through a house of mirrors, and you're scared, and you feel that sort of pressure in your chest. But then when you finally get out, they hand you a sucker. They hand you candy, and you're like, oh, that was so worth it. Okay, cool. I got candy out of this. This is awesome.
Yeah, with the way this one ends, like it feels like this is your end of movie, but the thing is, like, this is a character development type thing, but it's not the end of the story, because you're expecting the sequel to come out like 2 or 3 years later.
Right. So like the end question mark.
Yeah, this is just like the end of this. The character development has clearly happened, and this is going to be very important in the final act. And I mean, that's a hell of a lot saying that, considering what happens in the next few years with Elliott Smith. But still, like, so. Yeah, it has a big impact at the end there. I really love it. And like, I know I mentioned earlier in the album that the solo felt like lazy. I think that was somebody that I used to know. That's what it was. I know that it said like it felt like a little bit lazy or something like that, to kind of how it attempted to mimic the voice. But I love how it sounds here when it does it. Like, there's a little part of it between the first and second verse that the solo just mimics the vocals, but it kind of does it in a very like more, I don't want to say cartoonish, but it has more of a flamboyance to it, because it's able to as a guitar, and you can like bend strings, and you can just like kind of like really accent certain parts and do little trills and everything like that. So it sounds really cool like that, and I think it was well done there. I like that. So that's kind of the redeeming point from somebody that I used to know. And I mean, to me personally, the second half of the song feels as good as Stupidity Tries did. in that second half, like the ending, everything like that. It's a great payoff to like the huge building that's happening through the entire first half of the track. I love how full everything feels. The use of the trumpet was surprisingly fitting too. I'm very critical of that kind of stuff, but I love it. It wasn't piercing. It wasn't really out of place, and I don't know, it just works. So I liked it.
Yeah. Speaking of things that work, something that works for me, there are many sounds here that were introduced earlier in the album, but I can't get over the guitar, and it's just playing the higher strings. I like that. I like jangly pop music, and there's a lot of that in here. It was very easy to get lost in this song, which I did multiple times. I had to go back and go, what can I talk about? Because all I wanted to do was just sit here and listen to it as I'm doing other stuff. And then it's maybe 3 minutes of silence before I even realized the song had ended. I was like, oh shit, I should probably go back. But when I get lost in something like that, I feel like that's a good thing for sure.
I would imagine so. I mean, like, that just means you're taking far more out of it and like immersing yourself further into the music.
Yeah, because like if I don't like it, I will just straight up turn it off. But if I let it play and I just have it in the background, then it's music that doesn't annoy me, and I get annoyed really easily. So I'm very pleased.
I can tell. It's been
I'll
proven.
be honest with it.
It's been proven in the past. All right, so we'll move on to the finale of the album. Very short track, number 16, Bye. And I'm going to keep this short. I have one note. That's it.
So do I.
This song feels like a ghost or a fading memory. And shout out to all my Caretaker fans out there who can absolutely get that reference. It's so haunting and sad. Just like distant reverberated piano just playing us out. And this being the final song on his final album release while live makes it hit that much harder.
Yep. Mine just says, sounds like someone is playing the piano in the great room of a mansion, and there are zombies pacing the upstairs hallways, clanging their shackles. And I really enjoyed that spooky imagery.
I wouldn't imagine zombies. I would just maybe imagine like a big, empty, abandoned hall type thing, and the lights are off, and you can kind of hear this music in the distance. Things are like dusty, and maybe there's like webs everywhere, but like you just get the feeling like, oh, there's a ghost here for sure, and just like.
But you could kind of hear like rattling and shackles, so that someone else is there.
That was just the sound. That's just the actual sounds of the piano, like when he's pressing the sustain pedal down with his feet and stuff like that.
Doesn't matter. Spooky zombies. I like it.
Suppose. And so what is this, Thriller?
Yes it is.
So yes, we are at the end of Elliott Smith's Figure Eight. So hey, thank you very much for making this far through the album with us. Hope you're not shedding tears, and if so, I hope they're tears of joy, because I mean, I thought it was a great album. I don't want to say too much before we get to the rating, but like I own the vinyl, and I mean that's gonna tell you a little bit about what I think about the album, right?
It has to.
Do you have any parting words for it before we get to the song rankings?
Oh, I didn't know what I was getting into. I feel like just even talking to you right now, I've really just scratched the surface. I still don't really know what I'm getting into, even listening to any of his back catalog or any references or influences that he may have taken on, but I'm very curious, and I think that this is a good stepping stone to really discovering the rest of his music, as you have really praised the entire time I've known you. So I'm pleased that this was chosen, and thank you.
If you want something more commercial that kind of feels like this, listen to XO. If you want to just listen to something a little more step down, maybe either or would probably be a good step back as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where we are now at the end of the album. So once again, thank you very much for joining us and making it this far. If you have any opinions on this album, which we're sure you do by now, or anything that we've said, by all means, let us know down in the comments below of wherever you're listening, video or audio. There's comment sections everywhere. We'd be glad to hear it, read it, and discuss Elliott Smith with you. And I mean, I want to make sure I got some of my factoids and song things correct in there. Like I do a bunch of reading, and I've done it over the years on Elliott Smith. So some of it might be right, some of it might be a little off, but I don't know. And there's also probably things I missed as well, which that's fine. But anyways, while that's going on, we can move on to part 2 of 3. Now it's time to rank the songs. And I'm not looking forward to this in editing because it's going to be 32 songs that I have to take care of. Oof. So it's just like Year Zero and Blood Sugar Sex Magic all over again. So above our head, booms. Yes. The graphics have changed. There are names, there are numbers. There's going to be more names, song names to be specific. There are 32 numbers, 16 aside. Oh, I hate So I can get this done pretty quickly, but it's still just tedious to go through and type everything out. One by one, save each individual file. There's the behind the scenes of the editing. A lot of PNG files go into this.
Yeah, and a lot of bitching.
Exactly. I'm allowed to because I do the work. That's right. Yes. Okay, cool.
I'm well aware. And I'm avoiding eye contact.
That's why you can't point fingers because I could point 2 back right at you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm well aware. Yeah.
But yeah, 16 songs, time to rank them. If I had to guess, there might be a couple of matches on this one. I'm not super confident in saying that, but maybe 2.
I'm going to go ahead and say maybe 2 as well, but I think they'll be in the middle. I don't think they'll be the worst ones. I don't think they'll be the best ones. I think it'll just be oh shit, we had a coincidence. I don't think it'll be anything bigger than that.
That's how it usually tends to go, because it's either we get the worst, the best, and we know those ones usually pretty right away. Yeah. Everything else is just kind of like floating around in the middle somewhere. I'm
hoping 2, but with 16, let's hope we get more. But 2, I would leave happy.
Absolutely. So let's do this. Song number 16, Everything Reminds Me of Her.
Easy Way Out.
Number 15, In the Lost and Found.
Everything Means Nothing to Me.
I actually have to, because there's 2 Everything songs, I actually have to write means or reminds just so I know which one it is. Number 14, Somebody That I Used to Know.
Stupidity Tries.
Ooh, that one was low.
It was.
No.
Kind of had a little grouping in the middle that wasn't really the best for me.
Song number 13, Wouldn't Mama Be Proud?
Bye.
Bye. Song number 12, Color Bars.
In the Lost and Found, etc., etc.
Yes, all those other words. Number 11, Everything Means Nothing to Me.
Better Be Quiet Now.
I'm starting to lose faith in these 2.
Yeah, right.
Number
and
10,
as you're saying those, like you're saying yours, I have to run through my list to find out what the hell you just said, because fucking 16 songs, man.
There's still 6 we can match though at the very least.
All right, not this one.
Well, no, because my number 10 is Bye.
Good, because mine is Somebody That I Used to Know.
Somebody. Okay, that's fine. Number 9, Easy Way Out.
Everything Reminds Me of Her.
Let's write reminds. I'm not going to write everything out. Number 8, Better Be Quiet Now.
Happiness / The Gondola Man.
Number 7, Pretty Mary Kay.
Oh, number 7, Son of Sam.
SOS. That's how I'll leave that. Number 6, Happiness.
Number 6, Pretty Mary Kay.
Wow, close.
Yeah.
Just like this. Number 5, Son of Sam.
Number 5, Can't Make a Sound.
Can't make. So we have 2 more we can match.
All right.
It's coming down to it.
Oh.
And at least one of them actually I have as a question mark, so that's curious.
Okay.
Number 4, LA.
Number 4, LA.
Okay, we got that. That's not the question mark, but we got it.
That was pretty good.
Put a big old check.
It's always after you say something. You always take a break, have this little spiel, and then right after we get a match. I need all the time.
I need to say it after every single song so we can just get the whole list.
Right.
Just that snap of the fingers. Here's the one I have as a question mark. It's the only one we can match now. Number 3, Junk Bond Trader.
Number 3, Color Bars.
That's all right. We got 1 out of it. Although 1 out of 16 looks bad statistically.
It does.
Number 2, Can't Make a Sound.
Number 2, Wouldn't Mama Be Proud.
It was your number 1, was it?
It was.
Number 1, Stupidity Tries.
Junk Bond Trader. As soon as you said, you're like, oh, I think you'd like this one. All I thought was, motherfucker, he knows.
I did say top 3. I said top 3.
He knows.
And also, just before we move on to the album rating too, can I just, I don't know if I said it earlier, but I gave 2 scores of whether or not you would like or dislike the album. And the one, it seems like you like the album, so I'm going to stick to this score, although it might even be higher at this point. But I said 77.5 will be your score.
Yeah.
That was just me, like, before we even discussed it or anything. That was just me, because you have a hard time A-tiering shit just on your own. So I think like a high B tier is like what you usually tend to give things. So I'm just like 77.5 seems fair.
I want to let you know, though, that in my defense, I am so heavily disappointed in myself because like, obviously I'm not ranking these songs just to get an 80%, just to push it to A tier. But when I add all these individual song scores up and it comes up to 79 point something, it fucking kills me.
Are you referring to Shad?
It kills me. Just in general. It's like, oh, Savannah, you never A tier anything. Oh, you're so hard to please. I'm sorry. It's just math. It's not me. It's math.
It is you because you gave them the scores to add up that math.
It's not me, it's math.
Sure it is. Okay, well, let's see how well your math is this time around. It's time for the album rating screen, so let's just get over there. All right, here we are, the album rating screen once again, and looking at it, I have to scoff a little bit. I know we make B tier jokes all the time, but the last 4 albums have been B- tier. Just wanted to point that out real quick. My God, we're on a roll. I already said this before, but I thought season 4 was going to be different.
It's not. It's like when you're in a relationship and you kind of break up and you come back together. It's like, I promise I'll change. I promise I'll change. And then you change for like 2 months and then you just slide back in your old piece of shit ways. That was this season.
That sounds oddly specific. Is everything okay at home?
Everything is fine at home. I just feel like, well, you know what? Maybe I'll rate this way and blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, I fucking add everything together and it never passes 80%. It's really starting to piss me off now.
Well, at the very least, we've never promised that we would change. We just said we hope it does.
This is true. This is who we are.
Well, today could maybe be part of that change. We will see, because it is time to indeed rate the record. And it is Elliott Smith's Figure 8. I'm very curious to know where this one could end up. Did Kris get another A tier album, or is it going to be B+ tier or something along the lines of that?
Okay, so I personally, I know that I'm going first, but I do want to preface all of this with, I think that your score is going to be higher than mine, which will push it into the A tier, because I rated it at 79.06.
Oh my God.
What
is wrong with you?
So much. I probably was dropped on my head or lead in the water or asbestos on my Christmas tree, something like that.
All right. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I was close. I said 77.5 for you. So, I mean, that's not so bad. You surpassed my expectations at the very least.
I know. And I felt very comfortable going through the entire show knowing that no matter what I said, my score was still going to beat what you guessed. So I would come out the hero.
It was still less than 2 points off. So that's not so bad.
La, 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 la.
Can you shut up so I can do my score now? Thank you.
Yes.
So yes, I did indeed score higher than you. Not as high as I thought I was going to, but I'm not really bothered by the score though. Yep. I put it at 81.87. I A- tiered it. Wow. So that means this album falls to 80.46%. It is indeed A- tier.
It is better than the Tea Party, but just short of Michael Jackson.
Ooh.
Yes.
I think Elliott would be okay with that.
Which is fine.
I think Elliott would have been okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Top 10.
But look at that. Kris A tiers yet another album.
Savannah rolls her eyes aggressively.
And agrees aggressively.
Aye.
All right. Yeah. Oh, it feels good sometimes to be right. And that is indeed what Kris is today, with another A tier album, A- tier, but you know what, whatever. A is better than B. And we finally broke the 4 episodes streak of B tier albums, specifically B-. So that's nice.
Thanks to me at my 79%.
Your 79% ruined Shad's A tier potential. Just saying.
And you know what? I have to think about that every single day. Okay, I have to live with that forever.
Let it haunt you forever.
I do. It hurts.
But yeah, here we are, end of the episode now. This one was particularly longer. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, just there was a lot to discuss on this one. I mean, it's 16 songs, and there's a lot to get through.
Yeah.
But you indeed made it all the way to the end of the episode with us. Hey, thank you very much for joining us through that entire journey. You got through the discussions, the rankings, the ratings, and you're here now. So let us know what you thought of the album down in the comments below where you're listening. Where would you rank the songs? Where would you rate the records? Do you agree or disagree with us? By all means, let us know. We are more than willing to hear your opinion and chat it up with you a little bit. It's all good and fun, right?
Yes. Do the things he said now.
I try to let you interject, and then you just say, yes, do what he does.
Well, because you kind of cover everything. I can't just be like, yeah, listen to us. The only thing that I can say, I've been quirky and you've just shot me down completely. You've killed my spirit. Cool. But the only thing that I can say that really does come from my heart is pay us.
Right from like the sub depths of your heart there. Yes, pay us money and everything like that. If you feel so kind and enough to do so. Yes. I will say it's optional though, so that don't worry about that. It's all good. But regardless, all the support you can give us over on our social medias, on our websites, on the streaming platforms with ratings, reviews, comments, likes, following, subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. Do all that. All the links you could possibly need to find over at ratetherecord.ca. And yes, that money link, kofi.com/ratetherecord down in the description below, or also over at ratetherecord.ca. So hey, there's plenty of ways to show your love. You just choose whatever works for you. It's cool.
Yes, please. And thank you. Thank you for listening to us and our shenanigans. We appreciate you greatly.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you so much that we're still giving away free music. And remember, for April 2023, which is going on right now, we're giving away Mr. Bungle's California. And just a reminder, UK listeners, you are involved in this one by all means. So just, you can fill it out. Might not be every single giveaway, but we're going to try to include you as many as we can. Just the shipping's a lot on our end, and this isn't exactly a full-time job, so we just got to balance things out, but we want you to be part of it. We don't want to leave you out. We hate that. Like, it honestly feels bad knowing that we have like a lot of UK listeners, and it's like, no, we can't give anything to you. Sorry.
Yeah. I do want to say, 1, thanks for listening. 2, we definitely making an effort to include you into stuff, but the way things are and the way the world is right now, I kind of have to adapt. And 3, if you don't know Mr. Bungle or the album California, I do want to let you know that out of all of the albums that we have rated, it is number 3. So it is clearly a banger if Kris and I can finally agree on something. So, I mean, why not? Why not enter?
That is the only album that either one of us have individually S-tiered. I put that at 90 fucking %, which shocks me considering everything else we've done, and I 90%ed that. Like, I'm fine with that. I love that album, but I didn't think that was gonna be the tip top. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I told you there is something about Mike Patton that just gets me, and I hope
you rated 76. You be quiet.
Yeah, but someone gets me anyways. I mean, I've listened to more since then.
It's his nice low bassy tones, isn't it?
So good.
Exactly. So good. Well, go ahead and swoon over Mike Patton, and you can go fill out the record giveaway form. Hopefully you get a copy of California Mr. Bungle. That's episode 7 of our podcast, and go back to listen to that too, by all means. You got a lot to do, and you can do that over the week while we're gone and listening to more music and reviewing it, so we can come back next week. Speaking of which, we do have an album coming up next week, as per usual, another episode, and it's going to be a request.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't know if you had anything written for it.
No, I don't actually. Not at all.
No, it's fine because we usually discuss it offhand. We didn't do that this time. No problem.
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
I was. Don't make me walk in that trap. I almost didn't give it away. It's like way back and like when we did Porcupine Tree, and I gave away that was Weezer the next week, so I had to censor it in the actual recording. So I guess all I'll say is, we got a request for an album coming up. It's an instrumental album, not Animals as Leaders, that we've already done before. Just another callback that I can't put a card up for. I don't know too much about this band. I don't really know much to say either. It's a pretty chill album from what I've heard so far. I've been listening to it already, and I mean, it's chill. It's instrumental, something a little different that we're kind of like, it's out of the norm for the show so far. But hey, that's what kind of makes these types of things fun, when we can walk into an album blind and just hope for the best.
And if it's anything like some of the albums that we've done before that I really liked, I might walk away from this going, wow, I found something that I'm going to listen to daily. And that is always what I hope for coming into this. Will I listen to something that will now become my favorite? So having never heard of next week's band or artist before, I really hope that I can walk away going, yeah, this slaps.
As long as you can pronounce the name.
I probably will never.
So until we see you next week, go do whatever you want, binge other episodes, or maybe even go listen to some awesome music like Elliott Smith's Figure Eight, or literally anything else in his catalog. If you feel sad enough, by all means, go check it out. He's got great music. Yeah. But yeah, we will see you next week. So until then, go listen to some awesome music. Take care, friends.
Bye-bye.